Hello, my name is Jay from buymoto.com, your #1 source for motorcycle parts and accessories. Today we're going to talk about how to remove your wheel from your motorcycle. And you may ask yourself, what's so important about being able to do this? And the importance is actually money savings. And especially if you've called around to your local dealerships or service shops, you probably noticed they've quoted you anywhere from $40 to $60 per side just to change out your tires if your rim is on your bike. Now, if you were to bring your rim to them, sometimes the rate goes down to as little as $10 to $20. So that's big money right there. And and for the frequency that a lot of racers change their tires, it's going to save you, a lot of money in the long run. But before we start, we're going to talk about what kind of tools you'll need. And you can see our Race R1 is already on a stand. Here we have a pit bull stand, but the important thing to think about for a stand is that it has the flexibility to convert to both a regular swing arm or a spooled conversion. So if I were to flip this guy over, I could lift the bike from the spool. So this is a good stand because it's flexible. If you were generous enough to loan it to your friends, they could use it and it won't matter how their swing arms configure. The next item you will probably need is a ratchet, big one, a fairly big one, and a socket. Now the socket will be for the nut on the rear axle, and for the R1 it's a 32 mil. Make sure you read your service manual to find out what is the right size socket for your bike. It could range anywhere from 19 to 36, so check your service manual on that. Next I have is a little combo wrench. I have a 12 mil. This is for my adjustments for the chain adjusters in the back here. Okay, so after you change your wheels, you should always readjust your chain, and we're going to show you how to do that later. In case you have air tools, what we have here is a little air gun, so that if you wanted to, you could attach the socket to it and get your nut off real easily. Now if you don't have one of these, then I always recommend the much cheaper alternative. We call this the handy dandy breaker bar. And what we do with these is stick the ratchet in there and use the leverage, the length of the bar, to break the nut loose. Alright? So we're going to go ahead and start and show you how to do this. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start breaking the nut loose on the rear axle. If you're strong enough, you can just go ahead and arm it, but I'm kind of a big wussy here, so I'm going to use the breaker bar and get this nut loose. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy down, and it should just come loose. And the moment you can kind of feel it going already, you don't have to use the breaker bar anymore. You can just start using your arms to get it loose. Now once you got the nut loose, you're going to probably have a washer with it too. Be sure to just be real careful not to lose these guys, so put it in a nice safe place. The next thing we're going to do is actually take the wheel off, and it kind of comes off in one motion essentially. And what we first have to do is loosen up the axle. You can see me kind of pushing it out already. Okay. Now as the axle comes loose, what I generally do is keep my foot underneath the wheel, the tire, to kind of give it support, because it's just open air right underneath here. Now as I remove this axle, what I'm going to do is hold the wheel and I'm going to pull this axle out. Okay? Now once it's out, the wheel is kind of free floating, and there's only two pieces that are left to do. On the brake side of the rear wheel, we're going to go ahead and drop the whole wheel just a little bit, so you just lower your foot so you can get some clearance. I'm going to go ahead and pull the brake caliper off. Now back on the sprocket side, we're going to go ahead and let the tire kind of give it some slack on the sprocket and the chain, so that you can get enough room to pull the chain off of the sprocket. You can go ahead and rest it on the swing arm if you like, or any place that's just convenient. Now that I have my axle off, I got the brake side caliper taken off and the chain taken off, my wheel is essentially free to come out, and I can go ahead and just pull it out here. There you go.